Remember when we were in Kansas City week 1 and Matthew Berry said, hey, how do I get in on that Picks podcast? I said, take my place. Be my guest.
Okay. All right. We'll make sure we say that at the next break. Matthew Berry and fantasy football with Simms Unbuttoned. That's the new one.
All right.
You're tired. You're retired. See ya.
That's right.
Yeah.
The new PFT host, Strength for Free today.
I'm damn right.
Congratulations. You finally got a side gig.
Absolutely. I have no fear of going up against Chris Simms or Mike Florio, but if Florio wants to retreat to the.
He doesn't want to compete.
No, that's fine. I would love to be part of their pick spot. I'll go head to head with him. I'll head with both of them. Either one of them. I don't care.
It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. He's not getting in.
Yeah.
He's not getting in.
You don't want in. You don't want to be here, soldier.
It's not a bit. I don't want to do this. I do it because I have to. I don't enjoy this. The only reason I enjoy it this year is because you and I don't do 2 hours on Thursday. I don't get to talk to you very much during football season for reasons unrelated to anything I did or said or was even involved in or consulted with. But, Pete, you're going to come in with that. You're going to get me hot right out of the gate.
Yeah. I love it, Pete. I love it.
Barry, if you want it, if you want it, take it. I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do this?
This
Why?
isn't a bit.
Why?
I don't. Because
you don't want to pick and talk about football games as part of your job? I mean, come on.
You don't want to get into it. It's a no-win problem. I don't need to have picks on games to enjoy the games. I can enjoy the games for what they are. I don't like the idea of making people think we know what we're talking about, so they go out and bet their hard-earned money on it and think that they're relying on somebody who knows what they're talking about. I said this last year. I don't like doing it, and I wasn't kidding then, and I'm not kidding now. I like talking to you about football. I don't like the aspect of it where we act like we know what we're talking about, because we don't, even though we've done well the past couple of weeks. That's the aberration.
I disagree with all the bullshit you're saying. Like, all of it. All of it.
I don't care.
I do know what I'm talking about. I find that insulting. Okay. I do. So, and
okay.
you do too.
Why am I kicking your ass?
Okay, you do too, to your point.
Year?
It doesn't mean anything. Okay, great. And picking games doesn't also necessarily mean you pick, it right all the time. It doesn't mean you don't have knowledge about what's going on in the football game.
How many times do I got to tell you to get rid of that picture? How many times do I have to ask you nicely to get rid of that picture?
Oh,
how many
my
times?
gosh. You are.
All right. Boom.
No, don't stop down. We're going, Pete.
What?
Shut up and play the podcast. Let's go.
This is what
it's
you
the best
get,
opening
Pete.
We've ever had.
This is what
Let's
you
go.
get.
Here
this
we
is
go.
What you get for poking
You have
the bear,
problems, and
bitch.
you're got issues, and I don't know why you got to get that
Just
mad
figure
about
that out
something
now.
you started complaining about, and we play a bit about it, and you complain that.
not a
How
bit.
dare we
It's
tell
not a
you about
bit.
your complaints? How dare you?
It's
How
not a
dare you?
bit.
We tell you about the complaining you're complaining about. Oh,
It's not
shut
a
up.
bit for me.
Okay, then stop showing up, and we'll get Matthew Berry. I don't want to talk to you if you don't want to be here.
I want to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, but you don't want to do what we're supposed to talk
talking to you.
about? It's real ridiculous. You're acting like a baby. You're acting like a baby.
You're a baby.
Sure. Let's
get to
go.
it. Welcome to the joint PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast, presented at least for now by Little Caesars, or delivered by, got to get it right, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
All right, here we go. I was in a good mood. I wasn't in a good mood until somebody decided to poke me, thinking that this was all a bit. I'm going to move forward because we've been doing well for some reason, somehow. I was 13-2 last week. How in the hell did I end up 13-2? You were 12-3, which is still a very good week, but it's one game worse.
I know.
than I was.
It's amazing. I've been having
look at
good
the past
weeks, and
2 weeks.
I gained no ground at all.
The past 2 weeks, 25-4 for me, 24-5 for you. Oh, there's the picture of me when I was 15. That's still better. Okay, best bets. The best bets is the only area where we're not doing very well. You were 10-5 against the spread. You're up to 500 against the spread.
Yep.
I was 12-3 against the spread.
That's incredible.
Good Lord.
You're on fire.
All right, that picture's better. Literally on fire.
It's amazing. I have good weeks, and I just can never gain ground on you, and it drives me crazy. It really does. So we'll see what happens this week. But I hope we don't have all the same picks. That's the problem.
It's gotta.
And we have so many of the same picks, and I always lose the straight up. Always lose the straight up. It doesn't. We have 3 different picks. You win 2 out of the 3 almost every time. It's incredible. It really is. Drives me crazy.
And look, I don't change my picks. Like last week when we started disagreeing down the stretch, disagreed on Steelers, Jets, disagreed on Ravens, Bucks, I'm thinking, but I better not take the Cardinals. I better back off here. Nope, I already picked the Cardinals. I'm going to stick with it. And it actually paid off for me. That ended up being the difference by taking the Cardinals.
Oh, my gosh. Because of North Korea. I mean, they signed Jalen Reagor
North Korea.
Like he was going to help their team, and they obviously haven't watched Jalen Reagor's career that he messes up everywhere he goes. And, he's not going to save your football team. Made some crucial mistakes.
It wasn't North Korea, though, because the fumble was recovered in the end zone, which I'm fine with.
Okay.
Recover the fumble in the end zone, you get the ball on the 20.
Yeah.
Pete says we got to get going.
Well,
right.
that great
That's the
opening.
last time Pete will have a different open. See, this is how you,
Next time, I'm bringing in Matthew Berry to sit right next to me, and we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together, and we're going to have you.
He's got his own
wheel.
show to do. He's got his own show to do.
But,
No. All right. We won't be doing that, or I won't be doing the show. Your choice. Okay, let's get to it. Oh, by the way, before we do that, we have to say this. Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms pick 'em pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free pick 'em $1,000 pool to make your picks.
Just like us, you must enter all of your picks before kickoff on the first game of the week, Thursday night, and tonight it begins.
Oh, baby.
Oh, boy. I don't like Thursday Night Football when a team I give a shit about is playing. Not that I really care, because I accept they're going to go down in flames at some point.
Oh, my
the 5-0
gosh.
was fugazi. I'll go first. Vikings are favored by 2.5 against the Rams tonight in L.A. First time ever Sean McVay and Kevin O'Connell against each other since the time O'Connell was with the Rams. 48 is the over-under. 90% of the spread bets are on Minnesota. Oh, you silly, silly fools. Rams are going to win this one. Rams are going to surprise the Vikings. Puka Nacua, questionable. Looks like he'll play. Who knows? Cooper Kupp off the injury report. They're trying to trade him. I don't know why they're playing him. If they're trying to trade him, he gets injured. There goes the trade market. Matthew Stafford, still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Vikings, short week. Just played the Lions. Teams that play the Lions are 0-4 the next week. They get their kneecaps bitten.
That's right.
I am accepting the fact that the Rams are going to win this game. And the spread has been moving down. It was 3, now it's 2.5. I think people realize the Rams are capable of winning this game, and the Vikings on the short week, they come a little bit closer to reality at 5-2, and they're going to wish they were taking Matthew Stafford on the plane with them home to Minnesota, and maybe eventually he'll be joining them there.
Hey, listen, I think they match up well in a lot of areas. I think the first thing you hit on to go, hey, I understand you picking the Rams. I got the Rams, and I'm going to take the Vikings to win a close one, but certainly can see the avenue of upset for the Rams. The first thing is it just comes down to this basic premises. The Vikings defense, all they do, are you crazy? Of course McVay and Stafford will have a plan and know how to attack it and protect and pick up all the blitzes and throw hot routes and do all that. So right away, that kind of chops a leg of advantage off from the Minnesota Vikings as far as what they do to normal teams. I do think they'll know how to attack this to a degree. Now, do they have enough weapons and people like that to take advantage of it? I don't know about that. Again, it can't just be Matthew Stafford all the time, 6 yards, 8 yards, 10-yard laser. There's got to be somebody that can take some pressure off some of these long drives for the Los Angeles Rams. That's what I worry about with them a little bit. The other side of the ball, though, I think is really the reason I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings 27-24, but it's just I don't know if I totally trust the Rams defense in this matchup. I think that's what scares me more than anything. One, they don't stop the run very well. Your Vikings team can run the football this year. Aaron Jones is dangerous. And then on top of that, I think this is the type of team that, they get compromised there. They're not one of the better defenses in football this year. They're playing hard. They're young. They're learning the new Shula scheme and how he does things. But I expect Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell to put up a lot of big plays as well on this Rams defense. I'm going to go Vikings 27-24. I think we get a fun game. I think the Vikings pull it off late.
24-21 Rams is my score. I've been thinking about it all week long. I've been dreading it ever since I noticed it on the schedule coming after that game against the Lions. I think it's a tough spot for the Vikings. And, I need to see more from Sam Darnold. And I don't know if he's heard any of the chatter out there about Stafford. They act like they don't hear things. Some way, somehow they do. Hey, man, step it up. Step it up. You want to shut up the talk about Stafford? Step it up and make it clear that you're ready to build on the 5-0 start to the season. Okay, we move to Sunday. I'm used to the Sunday morning game. There won't be one this week. The next one is in Germany coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
No more London games. So we start at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Full
Eagles
schedule.
at the Bengals. Yeah, no buys this week.
Nothing.
It's weird.
Yeah, I know.
We're fully into bye season, and now there's no buys in week 8. So Eagles at the Bengals. Bengals have beaten the Browns and the Giants. Eagles have beaten the Browns and the Giants. Life is easy when all you have to do is play the Browns and the Giants, who ultimately realizes that it's not the same outcome as Browns and Giants. Will it be the Eagles or the Bengals who end up with the L? Bengals favored by 2 with an over-under of 48.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing, I was kind of surprised to see the Bengals favored by 2. I was. Now, I do think there's ways in which they can, of course, win this football game. The Eagles' defense, I do think that the Bengals will be able to protect to a degree. And again, I'm not sold that the Eagles' defense is fixed with all their problems, a little bit because of what you just said there. Yeah, you got to play the Browns and the Giants. We know they're not very good on defense. I do think the Eagles have gotten better, but I think the Bengals are dangerous on the offensive side of the ball. And I think this is the kind of matchup where the Eagles don't play a ton of man-to-man. They like to play zone and pass things off, and I think that fits right into how the Bengals and Joe Burrow want to play in a lot of ways. Jamar Chase, we know, is awesome. I think T. Higgins looks as good as he's ever looked in his whole career. He's explosive. He's making plays after the catch, doing all that. Yeah, it wasn't easy for their offense last week, but, I mean, come on. The Browns' defense is an all-star defense. It's special over on that side of the ball. Then there's the other side of this matchup. So I expect the Bengals to be able to move the ball on the Eagles, not just, blow them out of the water, but have success throwing the football and run the ball here and there just to keep them honest. The other side is the one that's interesting to me because the Bengals defense, as we know, is not great, right? But they do coach and do things where I go, ooh, that makes sense schematically. Now, it's whether they got the Jimmies and the Joes to stop what the Eagles do. And that's what I worry about. So I think Lou Anarumo and the style of defense they play, they'll be kind of all over some of the Eagles stuff that they do on offense because the Eagles are simple. They run a lot of repeat formations and plays and all of that, right? But I do worry about the Eagles just flat out steamrolling the Bengals, okay? I'm going to take the Bengals and win this one. It feels like I'm picking an upset. I'm going to go 31-28, but they're favored, and it's not an upset, which I don't understand. But I'm taking the Bengals 31-28.
You got the Bengals winning, you got the Bengals covering the 2-point spread. I got Bengals 27-20. Look,
I just
don't
wow.
fully believe in the Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't. What a shock. Unleash Saquon Barkley on the team that didn't want him. What do you think's going to happen? But what about the rest of the Philadelphia offense? That's the concern. And I think the Bengals building a little momentum, even though it was the Giants and the Browns. It's 2 wins in a row. They're digging their way out of the early season hole that they created for themselves. I think this just feels like a moment where the offense shows up, the defense does enough, they get after Jalen Hurts enough, the passing game isn't quite there yet for the Eagles. Hell, Devontae Smith had 1 catch for -2 yards this past weekend against the Giants. So this is just gut feeling, pasta and meatballs. Bengals trying to turn their season around, get to 500. And, the Eagles hit a little road bump after winning 2 in a row. Okay.
Man, I did not think you would take the Eagles there. That's what's crazy,
no,
too.
I took the Bengals.
I know. I did not think you would take the Bengals. I really didn't. I'm shocked we're both on that one.
Ravens at the Browns. You'll be really shocked if I take the Browns in this one, although the Browns fans are getting what they wanted. Jameis Winston playing quarterback because Deshaun Watson's out for the year. The Ravens are a whopping 8.5-point favorite. Short week. Had to travel home from Florida. Not a long trip, to Cleveland, the city from whence the Ravens came, over under a 44.5. You've picked Baltimore every week except kickoff night in Kansas City, which was a smart move by you. I was stupid last week in not picking the Ravens, or I would have been 14-1. I suspect you're taking the Ravens this week.
Yeah, of course. Well, you might have been right about your pick last week. Baker Mayfield doesn't throw that ball in the interception. We're going to be in store for a shootout that goes back and forth. That it's going to be like an unbelievably fun game. That kind of derailed it. The Ravens, hey, it's funny. We talk about the Chiefs, and I know you have heard me say this and stuff, like the Chiefs are a defensive team. And what I think everybody's got to get used to is the Ravens are an offensive team. Their defense is not very good. They're not. But they're good enough to stop this Cleveland offense. Now, I do think Cleveland offense will look better with Jameis Winston. I think he's more aggressive. He's a better thrower than Deshaun Watson. He's got a better feel for the game than Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson had no feel for anything. So I honestly think they're going to get a little bump on that side. But still, I just don't think there's enough there. I mean, Nick Chubb is not totally himself. They can't run the ball and be dominant like we've seen in years past. Jerry Jeudy and Njoku are not enough to expose this defense in Baltimore to the way they would like to. And then the other side of the ball is really the matchup. I mean, it's the Baltimore offense, which is the best in football. Run the ball, pass the ball, do whatever. How about to all those people out there that want to always say, oh, Lamar, he's not that good, and he's not really a quarterback and all that. How about he's quarterbacking the best offense in the game and throwing for 300 yards like it's nothing? And you can see when he's got some weapons around him and a system, oh, wow, he looks a lot better than what he looked like under Greg Roman and everything they were doing back then. All right? They're going to have some struggles, though, in this one. The Browns defense is good. I think they'll let them hang around a little bit. Ravens win the game, but it's a little uncomfortable for a while. 27-14, they pull away late as the game goes on.
I'm all in with the Ravens offense, and I don't think anybody can stop them. Lamar running, Derrick Henry on pace to set the single-season rushing record. It helps that it's 17 games. But you know what? Nobody said shit when Eric Dickerson said it with 16 games when it had been 14 games before that.
That's right.
I'm not big on the asterisk. Derrick Henry is great. Lamar Jackson is great. 5 touchdown passes last week, 23-1 against the NFC, which is just uncanny. This is an AFC rival, but still, the Ravens are clearly better, 42-20. The Browns are still the Browns, and they'll continue to be the Browns. Okay, Titans at the Lions. Lions, 11-point favorites. 45 is the over-under. It's the biggest spread of the week. Chris has picked Detroit to win every week this season, which accounts for 5 of your 6 wins this year because the Lions are a team to trust. Surely you trust them against the Lions or the Titans.
Of course I do. Yeah, I mean, the Lions, first off, are like the Ravens, hot as hell, really on both sides of the football. The Titans' offense stinks. I think it just plain old simple go down with that. We think Mason Rudolph's starting, right, as we sit here on Thursday. It sounds at least it's dicey with Will Levis. I don't really care either way, right? Will Levis might make a few more plays with his arm, but he might make a few more mistakes too. The Titans' defense, a little bit like the game we just talked about, like Cleveland. The Titans' defense is awesome. They're great, but there's only so long they can hold down the fort with a crappy offense before it just starts to break down. And I think that's what will happen in this one. I think that, the Titans' defense will keep them close for a little while, but just not enough offense to match. I'm going to go Lions 31-17.
Yeah, look, the Lions should win this one easily. They aren't a team that's going to step in a pothole when they finally have things rolling. 41-17 is the score I have, and Jared Goff could be the first quarterback in NFL history to have a passer rating of 140 or higher for 4 straight games. He's on fire, literally. The defense is doing well without Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, they give up some points, but this is the Titans. They're not going to give up a lot of points to the Titans because the Titans can't score a lot of points, and the Lions offense definitely can. We're still not sure about Jameson Williams for this weekend, and it's weird because usually suspensions become effective on a Tuesday, but the Lions are proceeding as if they're not going to have Jameson Williams for a 2-game PED policy violation. Not that it's going to matter this week. It matters next week against the Packers. 41-17, Lions win. All right, Colts-Texans, AFC South rivalry. The Colts surprisingly 4-3. The Texans at 5-2 after barely losing to the Green Bay Packers. The Texans need this one to keep their distance between them and Indy. Favored by 5, over under 46. Who you got?
Hey, the Texans are clearly the better team, right? And maybe not to the extent of what we talk about with the Eagles, but it does feel like there's something a little off with the Texans to a degree that they've yet, I said this last week, they've yet to play a game where I've gone, man, that was impressive. They look good on both sides of the ball. Wow. I know they barely lost to Green Bay last week, but when you talk about they won the turnover battle 3-0 and still lost, that's an ugly loss. Their offense was kind of physically dominated in the football game, at least in the pass game, I should say. Green Bay they were content to let the Texans run the ball. And that's what was interesting about that one. The Texans defense is good, but it's either feast or famine, like we talked about as well. I do think the Colts will be able to put some drives together and do some things, but the Colts are run the ball, inconsistent pass game, unbelievable pass, and that's really what they are. There's just not enough consistent offense for me to think they can beat the Houston Texans, let alone their defense not good, and I feel like Houston, C.J. Stroud, after last week's performance, they're going to be on a little bit of a mission. They miss Nico Collins, though. I don't know when the world's going to realize. Stephon Diggs is a number 2. Tank Dell is a number 2. When you're missing your stud number 1, your offense is different. You see that. I'm going Texans nonetheless, 30-21.
I got 27-21. Look, the Texans need Joe Mixon. They got a lot out of him last weekend in a losing effort. They'll score enough points. And the Colts, I think if you're the rest of the teams in the AFC, and specifically the Texans, you want to knock them out before Anthony Richardson really figures out football. You don't want him to figure it out this season and get hot. The Colts are one of those teams that if they can just hang around 500 by Thanksgiving and the light comes on for Richardson,
I hear you there,
and he stays healthy,
right,
they could be very good, and they could be a tough team to beat in the postseason once Richardson starts to figure it out. So Texans, I think, figure him out and figure out the Colts and get the win 27-21. Let's move on to the next one. The Jaguars, welcome back from London. You get two games away from home and a long week, and here come the Packers. Packers only favored by 4. It's the highest over-under of the week at 49. Chris, you have picked Green Bay to win every week this season. They are now 5-2. Do they get to 6-2 against the Jaguars?
Well, the Green Bay offense is one of the best in football. I think that's where you got to start. And then you talk about the Jaguars defense where, let me just make sure, it stinks. I know that, but I just want to make sure exactly where it is. 27th in football right now. 27.7 points per game against a team that I would call they run the ball with the running back better than the Baltimore Ravens, right? Ravens lead the NFL in rushing, but that's a lot because of Lamar's ability to scramble and run too. When you just talk about true running the ball, I'm taking the Packers as the best running team in the sport, right? They got that. We know their ability to throw the ball and be explosive and aggressive down the field. Jordan Love's got to take care of the ball better. We know that, but I think he will. He's been making comments this week about that's the number one thing he's got to fix. I do think the Jaguars have found a little something on offense, especially with Brian Thomas Jr. They are starting to move him around everywhere. Within the offense, you could see he's getting a better grasp. He's in the slot. He's over here. He's over there. They're designing the pass game around him. And I think because of that, that's probably why the line's a little closer. And I think Trevor Lawrence and company will make some plays against this Green Bay defense, who's aggressive. They try to make turnovers. They do stuff like that. And within that, sometimes it allows them to be left open for big plays. I'm going Packers 34-24. Ultimately, I think the Packers are one of the best teams in football. They're young. They're learning how to win. But damn, they're good.
We almost ended up with the exact same score. I got 34-23. Packers win, Packers cover. This is just one of those games where the Jaguars managed to get a win. The heat's off a little bit. Hey, we just got back from London.
Yeah.
Packers are back. I just don't see the Jaguars pulling it together. And I may eat these words, but I don't care. It won't be the first time. Tastes like chicken. But I just feel like the Packers know what they're playing for. The Jaguars at this point, they have to realize it's a long road for them to be relevant again. And they also have to realize beating the Patriots really doesn't mean anything, especially when the coach calls them soft immediately after the game. Cardinals, Dolphins, Tua is back. And the Dolphins need it. They need him to stay back. 3.5 points. The Dolphins are favored. The Cardinals flying across the country on a short week. That doesn't bode well, in my view, for Arizona. Having Tua back does bode well for Miami. Again, 3.5 point favorites in Miami, 45.5 over under. Who do you got?
Well, this is like the Bengals-Eagles game. This is the other game at 1 o'clock where I was like a little bit like, man, coin toss here. I'm not sure. I know they're going to be better with Tua on offense, but he'll be a little rusty too. I don't know. Does that lead them be thinking like, oh, he's back, everything's good, and like gets them in that mindset to where they're not ready for battle on Sunday against the Cardinals? Cardinals have been playing pretty good football lately, right? I'm not just sold necessarily that just because Tua's back, this offense is going to take off. Tua, the first 2 weeks was here, and that offense didn't go shit nowhere. It went nowhere. So that's where it's like I think people are forgetting that, wait, the Titans and Mason Rudolph kind of dominated the Dolphins that night. The Jaguars showed about 3/4 of really shutting down Tua in that offense. So that's where I'm a little bit like, I don't know if it necessarily thinks we're going to be right back into the greatest show on turf here. Now, the Dolphins' defense is good. There's no doubt about that. I guess I'm just not sure how good. They've been a team that's been able to play. If you had to handpick some of the worst offenses in football to play against to make your total defense better, it would be what the Dolphins have had on their schedule for the most part. This is at least a little bit more of a test, but ultimately, at home, the Tua energy bump, all of that, I think they will win the game in a close one. I'm going to take them 24-21.
24-21, so that gives the Cardinals the half-point cover.
Yep.
I got Miami 30-24. I think that the Tua return, the excitement from that, Tyreek Hill's comments to the media on Wednesday, it's clear that they are raring to go to get somebody back who can distribute the football and run that offense. And even though Tua is not a top-5 guy, he's clearly better than any of the other options 100%. They have by running that offense, the shell game stuff they do behind the line of scrimmage where you don't know where the ball is. It's a thing of beauty when it's working, and it will be working. And the only question is, when's he going to have his next concussion? This year, next year, the year after, next week, who knows? But I think that you throw in the short week, the Cardinals getting the late win, traveling across the country almost completely, entirely across the country. I just think it's too much. I think the Dolphins pull off the win 30-24. Okay, I can't recall a more compelling game between two teams whose records suggest caca. The Jets 2-5, the Patriots 1-6. But on one hand, you got the coach who called the players soft in New England. And then on the other hand, you got the whole issue with the low energy and trying to get more energy out of the Jets. And the Jets are getting desperate. They lose this one. They're 2-6. They're basically done. They got the Texans on Thursday night. They're favored by 7. Is this one where the Patriots will win the game? Or at least will they cover the spread? Chris, who do you have?
I don't think so. I just don't expect that. Now, hey, Drake May's been positive. There's no question. He's added a little bit more of a playmaking, explosive play element to their offense there. But I still just don't think, even though this Jets defense has not been great as of late, and maybe that's just what they are, right? They're disappointing on that side of the ball with as talented as they are, right? Sauce Gardner not matching up all the time. That drives me crazy. You can't be the best corner in football if you don't match up. I'm sorry. But even with all that and some of the troubles we've seen with the Jets on D, I just don't think there's enough there for the Patriots offense for me to think, ooh, they're going to be able to keep pace. And then the Patriots defense, it's nothing special there as we look at it right now either. The Jets on the offensive side of the ball, they definitely want to step back in how they approach the game and like how it was different from 2 weeks ago against Buffalo with all the motions and all the different things they did and throwing aggressive. What I was worried about, what I said on Football Night in America, I'm afraid when Devontae Adams comes back, it's going to take Rodgers into, check to the 2-yard play, check to the 2-yard throw. And that's what we kind of got back into last week. But even with all that, there were still positives from their offense, and there they were 15-6 with the ball and a chance to really end the football game. And the fearless immunizer throws a bad interception because he's chicken to throw the ball down the field. That's what it is.
Oh, no.
It really is. He's afraid to throw the ball down to make explosive plays. That's his biggest problem. It's the Jets' biggest problem. But with all that said, I'm still taking the Jets, 27-17. I just don't think the Patriots are in the class of the Jets as far as talent on the field.
He loves throwing that ball down the middle, and he got away with it the prior Monday night with that back hip throw, as Devin McCourty called it, to Alan Lazard. He tried to get away with it again, and Beanie Bishop had something to say about it. I'm concerned, and I don't think it's going to happen in this game, but I feel like at some point the wheels are going to come off for Aaron Rodgers. He's had a knee that keeps swelling up on him. Yeah, welcome to 40. He's got a hamstring now. He's had an ankle. They have the Sunday-Thursday turnaround for the second time this year. I think it's going to get to the point where it's too much for him. He's going to be 41 in early December, but I think they win this one. I'm going to give the Patriots the cover, though.
Okay.
I believe that the Patriots are going to react the way that Gerard Mayo intended to being called soft. Max Crosby said, hey, you called players soft. Those are fighting words. Okay, fine. Go fight. Go fight. Prove you're not soft. So I think this is going to be a better game than we realize. It's going to be a little rough and tumble. And I think the Patriots could win, which is why I'm only going 6 points. Patriots cover, Jets win 23-17. I won't be surprised if the Patriots win, but I don't have the guts
they win,
to pick the Patriots to win.
That'll be headlines Sunday night, even though the Jets are sitting at 2-5. That will be like nail in the coffin, and I can't believe you lost to them, and what a disaster the Jets are.
And that's why, and I was tempted to pick the victory because I love the story that comes from the Jets losing that game, but I still think the Jets win the game.
Yeah, I hear you there. I can't pick the Patriots. I know that.
Falcons at Buccaneers. Both teams lost in Week 7. Falcons by 20 at home to the Seahawks. The Bucs. Look, like you said, it looked like it was going to be a shootout, couple of interceptions. Next thing you know, the Bucs are in a hole, and then they try to dig out of it, and it got a little interesting late. The Bucs need this one. They're breaking out the creamsicles. The Falcons are favored by 2.5 in Tampa. They won that classic in overtime on a Thursday night 3 weeks ago, I believe it was. Over under of 46. Again, Falcons 2.5-point road favorites. Do the Bucs, without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, do they have enough to overcome the Falcons?
That's what scares me. I mean, I do think this will be a close football game. I don't think just because those two guys are out that the Bucs can't compete here. I think there's enough to go around on the offensive side of the ball, at receiver, the running backs, the way they play there, that they'll be able to move the football. But I think ultimately, those two injuries bother me in the fact of, do I think they can win the game? No, they need Mike Evans to make a big play or Chris Godwin to make a big play and do what he does, certainly. And their defense isn't good enough for me to think, they'll step up this week and stop the quarterback that threw for 500 yards against them a few weeks ago. Now, I think Atlanta is a good offense. I think Bijan Robinson is starting to look like he is really special at running back. Kirk Cousins, of course, can pick you apart. There's still an element of the big pass play that I think is not there. And I wonder if that's where maybe the Bucs are different in this game, where they just start to go, hey, he doesn't throw it deep. Let's just play for all the 10 and 12-yard throws that, he makes on a consistent basis. That's really how they got picked apart on that Thursday night. It wasn't like bombs away. It was just like 10 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 15 yards, right? And I kind of think that's going to happen again. Let alone, I think their run game going, and a Monday night loss, demoralizing injuries and all that. I think that's one that keeps the team down for the week a little bit. So I don't like the psychology of where the Bucs are. Falcons 28-24, Mike.
Wow. All right, we finally disagree on one. I was thinking about what we saw from Kirk Cousins the last time they played. A lot of those passes over the middle, the hole in the zone.
Right.
Antoine Winfield Jr. wasn't there.
Yes,
He's
that's
back.
Right.
I don't think those plays are going to be as easy this time around. Outside of the dome, on grass, 52-week anniversary of when Kirk Cousins had his Achilles injury. I don't know that he's thinking about that at all. I just feel like this is one where the Bucs need it. They dig deep. They got that three-headed monster at running back now. I like it a Bucs. I like it a Baker Mayfield. I like it a creamsicle. I don't like a Kirk Cousins in this one. I just think that when you look at what happened to the Falcons last week, they got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
And they got demoralized in a different way than the Bucs did. I think they're in as tough a spot as Tampa Bay to turn this one around. Bucs needed to get the split. I've got the Bucs 23-20 to win that game. All right, we finally disagree on one.
We disagree on tonight, too. We got two disagreements.
Oh, we disagree on two. I forgot about that. Yeah, never mind. In my mind, I'm still thinking I picked the Vikings, even though I went with the smart play, the Rams to win. Let's take a break. Late afternoon Sunday games right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is the number one place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. As always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you can afford to lose. Chances are, if you listen to us, you will, except the past 2 weeks, because it's going to end. This is the week it's going to end. It can't continue. We can't continue to be as good as we've been, but at least we're going to try.
I think we can, Doom. I think we're on it. I think we're on it.
Picks podcast, delivered by Little Caesars, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
All right, Saints and Chargers. The Chargers 7-point favorites. Saints getting a little extra time to get ready for this one. Chargers coming off of the short week. I don't like this NFL. I don't like when one team played on a Thursday and another played on a Monday. That's an unfair advantage for the Saints. Not that it matters, but I think they should be more sensitive to that. When you have a team with 3 extra days and a team with 1 fewer day, that doesn't balance out. But again, Saints are so banged up. They don't have their starting quarterback. Spencer Rattler's still playing. Chargers favored by 7. Will the Chargers cover? Also, 40.5 over-under. A very low over-under for this one for a 7-point spread. Who do you got?
Yeah, well, because I just think it'll be a slow beat down, choke down of the Chargers choking out the Saints. It's just going to be like body blow, body blow, body blow. Haymaker, this one's over. We win, we win easily, even though it was kind of ugly in the process. I mean, what do you got to look at? The Saints offense versus Chargers defense? I don't expect anything there. I think the Chargers are going to be pissed off. I think they got into a game the other night where they probably should have been up by 2-3 scores early in the football game and look at it and go, damn, we blew our chance to get ahead and then let our defense eat and play the way we want to play and run the ball and do that, and we let the game slip away. I mean, let Kyler Murray make one play basically, and then all of a sudden it was like, holy cow, we're going to lose. Incredible that way. But the Saints just don't have enough playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. And then even though this Chargers offense is not beautiful or anything like that, they're efficient. They run the right plays and the right looks. And they game plan always a few plays to make a few explosive plays against the team. I'm taking, of course, the Chargers. 31-13, slow beat down of the Saints.
24-16 Chargers. I thought about giving the Saints the cover, but yeah, I just think the Saints have been basically demoralized in recent weeks. Started 2-0 and have lost 5 in a row. We think it gets to 6 on Sunday. Bills at the Seahawks.
Woo.
You have not picked Seattle against the spread yet this year. The Bills are favored by 3 in Seattle, over under a 46.5. Bills looking pretty good. You have not believed in the Bills of late, except for last week against the Titans. And again, who wouldn't believe in anyone against the Titans? Who do you like between Bills and Seahawks on Sunday?
They're making me a believer a little bit, though. The Amari Cooper trade goes a long way that way. To me, it's finally given them a piece to where it goes, wait, defenses can't just go, oh, he's another guy over there, and we can worry all about Josh Allen. That is going to change things. And then as we've talked about in weeks past too, right, that Bills offensive line is good. It's real. It really is. Now, Seattle's defense getting better. We saw that, made a few plays last week, but I'm not ready to write home that I think it's ready to stop Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. One, I think Buffalo runs the ball well enough against a Seattle defense that's not great at stopping the run to where, yeah, it'll give them some issues. And then as far as passing the ball, I always have confidence Josh Allen's going to be able to make plays passing the football, and especially with Amari Cooper. So I look at all those things and go, okay, I think Buffalo can have success on that side of the ball. Got to deal with the crowd, all of that. The other side of the ball is, to me, the interesting one. Again, Buffalo's defense good, but as you've always heard me say, they like to play zone, right? They don't have any big-time ballers on that side of the ball. And Geno Smith and that passing offense are hot. But DK Metcalf not being there literally is the reason why I'm not going to pick the Seahawks. If they had him, I'd go, I might take the Seahawks to win, with some great pass plays in the fourth quarter. But he's not there. I'm going to go Bills 28-24, winning a tough one on the road.
Yeah, I got 27-23, so we both have the Bills by 4. I went back and forth on this one, though, because I could see Seattle winning. I'm a little hesitant because we didn't see it coming last week when Seattle went into Arizona and won by 20.
Atlanta,
right. And won by 20 points. They start with A and they end with A. Who we mean. Close enough. But, I believe in Josh Allen. It's funny, I talked to both Josh Allen and Geno Smith after the games last week, and both of them are awesome. And I'm a big Geno Smith fan. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I don't mind what happens either way. I'll be happy for the winner, but we got to pick one. I got to go with the Bills. They feel like the better team right now, especially since they have Amari Cooper, and it looks like Seattle won't have DK Metcalf. Did I say the score 27-23? Yes, I did. Panthers at Broncos. The Broncos get Bryce Young because Andy Dalton's injured. The Broncos had Spencer Rattler fall into their laps, and they had 3 extra days to recover from the beatdown of the Saints, the one that Chris didn't make a best bet and is pissed still to this day that he didn't make it a best bet.
Because listen to you. Don't make Thursday night best bets. The show re-airs on Friday. I was pissed last Thursday night watching that game because it went down exactly how I said it would.
It hasn't stopped you before.
I know.
It hasn't stopped you. 9.5 Broncos favored by 41.5 over under. I have not picked the Carolina Panthers straight up or against.
Well, why the would you?
Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing so well.
Wait.
Who do you got in this
are
one?
they playing Greenwich High School? I might take them over Carolina. I'm not sure. I got to think about it. I mean, of course no one's going to take Carolina. You were on serious drugs if you're taking Carolina in just about any game. You got you got issues in your brain. I mean, to me, this is part two. Like the last week was, the first rendition of the Broncos whooping the shit out of a team from the NFC South. Now come see the sequel of them whooping the other piece of shit team in the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers. I think it's going to go down like the same way. They're going to run the ball on them. It won't look all that pretty with Bo Nix at first. Their defense will make a play or two, and they'll slowly just beat them down. I'm going to go Broncos 24-13 in this one.
I've got Broncos 31-13. Look.
So same story. You just got them getting another pick six or something. Yeah.
It's lining up perfectly. Bo Nix gradually getting better each week. The offense gradually doing a little more. The defense suffocating. That game last Thursday night was never competitive. It's going to be the same way on Sunday. Bryce Young is being thrown to the wolves. They pulled Bryce Young out for his own damn good, and now they have to go back to him
the Broncos. He's got to go to the Broncos. Hey, you get to play the craziest defense in football with just kamikaze psychos everywhere. Welcome back to the NFL. I mean, seriously, what a bad week to go back into the fold.
And the Broncos win, they get to 5-3. They are in the thick of things in the AFC West. We wrote them off when they were 0-2. They've written themselves back into the narrative.
They feel very much like Jets 2009 Sanchez kind of football team. Quarterback just does enough. The defense is awesome. We run the ball. We got a psycho head coach who makes us all believe in all that. It has those vibes, except I do think, Sean Payton is a level up from Rex Ryan.
All that's missing is Peyton saying, let's go get a goddamn snack. All right, the Chiefs, 10-point favorites at the Raiders. I have picked Kansas City to win every week this season. Another reason why I'm doing so well. Thank you, Kansas City Chiefs. That's a big spread, though. Over under a 41.5. Chiefs have DeAndre Hopkins. Raiders have Gardner Minshew at quarterback now that Aiden O'Connell's on IR. Do the Chiefs get to 7-0, Chris? The last time they lost was against the Raiders in Kansas City, Christmas Day of last year.
Right, yeah. I would think, payback might be on the mind of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on a mission. There's no doubt about that, right? It's a little bit like some of the games we just talked about. I feel like this is another one that'll be just a slow beatdown. The Raiders' defense, as we've discussed before, is not horrible. It's just the offense is so bad, they just break eventually. And we know the Chiefs' offense, it's good, but not special. But it certainly seemed to be finding its way a little bit with how they want to play with 2 and 3 tight ends and this group of receivers. They needed DeAndre Hopkins. Xavier Worthy is not ready to take over the role as the number one guy. He's still kind of just a gadget guy, a straight liner, whatever you want to say, but that's who he is. He's not an every down. We can build the offense around him, at least not yet. We'll see where it goes. But then ultimately, I think the biggest thing, Mike, is what are the Raiders going to do on offense against this Chiefs defense? It's one of the best in football. I just don't think they can create enough plays and points here on that side of the ball. They might hang around for a little, but ultimately the Chiefs do cover the spread, 31-16.
I feel like this one's going to be closer. 10 points is a lot for a team that has not been blowing opponents off the field.
Yeah.
The Raiders know the Chiefs very well. The Raiders don't have a lot to play for the rest of the year. They've got 2 games against the Chiefs, this one and the Black Friday game in Kansas City. I think they'll keep it close, and I think they'll keep it tough. And, the fact that the Chiefs went for the DeAndre Hopkins trade tells you they're concerned now. They've reached a critical mass with these injuries.
Right.
24-20 is the score I have. Total pasta and meatballs. The Chiefs find a way, but it's not going to be easy. Max Crosby and company going to be playing for pride, going to be trying to beat the Chiefs, trying to instill some belief in themselves. And if nothing else, they can take pride in the fact that they ended a streak that dates back to the last time they beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. All right, Bears at Commanders. Bears favored by 3. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to be playing. It all comes down to whether or not Dr. Needle shows up and whether or not he punctures a lung in the process, because Jaden Daniels has that rib injury. He didn't practice on Wednesday. Dan Quinn has said they're hopeful he's going to play on Sunday, but he's week to week. Anytime somebody says someone's week to week, I think they're going to miss at least 1 week.
I think so.
So it's either going to be Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota against Caleb Williams and the Bears, who had 2 weeks to get ready for it. Tough spot for the Commanders, who are at 5-2. The Bears come in 4-2. Again, Bears favored by 3 on the road, 43.5 over under. Who you got?
Well, close football game. I am picking the game as if Jaden Daniels isn't playing, right? So, I mean, if you are listening to this on a Thursday afternoon or Friday or whatever, right, those are my thoughts. That Jaden Daniels isn't playing and that they will start the quitter, Marcus Mariota, who did okay last week.
Damn.
Yeah, but he's a quitter. I have a problem with Marcus Mariota. What he did in Atlanta, to me, I will never root for him ever again. He quit on his football team because they benched him because he wasn't playing good enough. They said that. I'll never forgive him. I'm actually shocked he's in the league. He would never be on my team if I was a head coach. I'll just tell you that much. I'm going with the Bears. Mariota, yes, he's a veteran. He's played a little. He knows this offense too. Certainly, I get that. This Bears defense is damn good. They really are. And I think this is a week where, hey, this Bears offense, I've been, talking highly about it and praising it. Not only the schematics, but the Jimmies and Joes are awesome too. I think they got it rolling with that extra time off. I think Caleb Williams looking at this going, wait, everybody's been talking about Jaden Daniels, and I'm slowly closing that gap, and I want to pass him up this week. He won't get a chance to, I don't think, head-to-head, but I am going to take the Bears to win this one 24-20.
And it's happened. It's, for me, 2 games in a row, 24-20, and this game, 24-20. I had to check twice to make sure I didn't make a mistake. 24-20, Bears. I wonder about the Mariota thing because I wonder if it was edited in a way to make him look worse. I don't know. If so, shame on him because the players are supposed to have some input. I mean, if you're going to agree to be part of something like this, you should at least say, I'd like to see the final cut before it goes out.
Arthur Smith pretty much told you.
It did make him look like a quitter.
Yes.
It did.
Right.
All right.
Thanks for sticking up for me there.
And I assume it will be Marcus Mariota on Sunday. And he ran the offense well.
He did.
But it was against the Carolina Panthers. I'd run the offense well against the Carolina Panthers. So and it was already over. It already felt like we knew what this day was going to be by the time Mariota was in the game. I think that it's a different story this time around. And the Bears, what an opportunity for them to get to 5-2. I mean, think about this. By Sunday night, assuming I'm wrong about tonight's game.
Yeah, right.
You could have the Lions at 6-1, the Vikings at 6-1, the Packers at 6-2, and the Bears at 5-2.
It's incredible.
That's unbelievable.
It's incredible. The coaching in that conference is off the charts good. Offense and defensive coordinators, some of which are head coaches. I know that, like Kevin O'Connell. It's incredible. They're coached so well on both sides of the ball, every team in the NFC North, and they attack, right? There's not like, we're going to play a conservative. The Lions and the Vikings defense, they do everything. Their offenses do everything. The same with the Packers. The Bears are getting to that point. I mean, it's fun to watch. I've never seen anything like it, actually, in one division. Brings me back to like 80s NFC East type of stuff almost.
You know what would make it even more fun? Matthew Stafford coming back to the division. That would make it more fun. Let's take a break. Primetime games. Cowboys 49ers on Sunday Night Football, plus the Steelers Giants on Monday night. We'll do those next on PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
And this is the PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned Picks podcast, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
All right, Cowboys at 49ers. Classic game, throwback, but a must-win for both games. Cowboys 3-3 after getting their asses shellacked by the Lions the last time they played. 49ers 3-4 got beat by 10 by the Chiefs and have lost to the Cardinals and the Rams. Good Lord.
Yeah.
You've yet to pick Dallas against the spread this season. Will you do it in this one where the 49ers are favored by 4, over under 46?
Well, I might pick them against the spread, but I ain't going to pick them to win the game, okay? And that's the #1 thing. That's where I'll start right there. I don't think that the Cowboys defense is going to stop the 49ers offense. Again, a Cowboys defense that we've talked about, it's well documented, having trouble stopping the run against this team and the way they run the ball. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, we're not going to see Christian McCaffrey. It sounds like he's close, but not ready yet. We're going to see Jordan Mason, who's one of the best backs in football. I expect them to be able to run the ball. I expect them to be able to make plays on the offensive side of the ball and move the ball up and down the field. Now, where I think the matchup's a little different than years past is things you've heard me say. I don't think this 49ers defense is nearly what it used to be. It's not what it was last year or the other years they went to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. They're still kind of finding their way. They're waiting for guys to get back and healthy. But you can make plays on them. And I do look at the Dallas Cowboys, and with Dak Prescott, I think he'll make enough plays in the pass game to kind of keep them around and hang around this football game. I do see that, but I don't see him winning the game. I'm going to go 49ers win the game, but Cowboys cover the spread. 27-24 49ers.
I got 30-21 49ers. I just feel like the Cowboys, all the various chickens are coming home to roost. There was the story on ESPN.com about how they have the daily tours and how it distracts the players. Jerry getting upset on the radio last week and then coming back and taking shots at Mike McCarthy saying their problems are play design and play calling and other things like players not getting off their blocks and whatnot. I just don't know that the 2 weeks really makes a difference. The only good news is they aren't playing at home, but the 49ers are ready to be. I feel like at some point they have to remind us of who they are. Even with all the injuries, they have to remind us of who they are and what they are, and this is a prime opportunity to do it. And if they fail, they go to 3-5, and we start wondering, are they going to get knocked out of the playoffs this year? That's I think the loser of this game is in real danger of not making the playoffs. That's why it's so important, but I think the 49ers win it 30-21. Now, Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the G-Men.
Yeah.
I think I lacerated my esophagus on that.
The Giants do that to a lot of Giants fans right now. They make us choke and cough a lot. Yes.
6.5-point favorite are the Steelers. Russell Wilson likely starting again. 36 over under. The Steelers have this one last game before their bye week, before kind of a murderer's row of games down the stretch. They should be able to win this one. I know it's hard for you. The Joe Shane and Brian Daboll got a little vote of confidence last night from John Mara. He's not going to make any changes, or at least he doesn't plan to. Plans can change if you keep losing. But do you think the Giants can pull this one off, or do the Steelers get to 6-2?
Well, I don't think it's like I'm going to pick the Steelers to win the game, but I don't think it's like a definite. Do I see ways in which the Giants can win this game and pull off an upset? Yeah, I do. I think this Giants defense will pose more problems for the Steelers offense than the Jets did last week. Now, the Jets, to me, that's what's annoying about them. They just go, this is what we do, and they don't game plan or do anything. The Giants won't. The Giants will go, wait, George Pickens one-on-one with anybody is not a good thing. Well, we're going to find ways to, let's stop George Pickens and let's see if something else can beat us on that offense, which we still yet don't really know or have seen. I don't know that way. And then this is not a game where I think the Steelers will be able to go, well, wait, they doubled George Pickens, so now we'll be able to run the ball and do that. You're not going to run the ball on this Giants team. I know the Eagles did a little last week. The Eagles posed a whole set of different problems than the Pittsburgh Steelers do. And the Eagles' offensive line's amazing. And the Giants had to sell out to stop some of the quarterback run and the running, and there's worrying about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. There's way more to worry there. I think they can give the Steelers offense some issues there, but I just don't have enough faith in the Giants offense. They might move the ball a little bit. I still don't think this Steelers defense is special, but they do have a knack for making plays and creating turnovers, and I could see that happening again once again. The offensive line for the Giants, once again, sucky ducky. One of the worst in football. Sucky ducky. Okay, they are bad. Steelers win this one 24-17.
So you have the Steelers covering by a half point. I have them
Yep.
covering by more than that. 27-13, Steelers win. Home game, prime time. They're really starting to come into their own. The game went so well against the Jets. I almost feel like you undermine what you did against the Jets if you stumble against a lesser team than the Jets
I hear you
in
there.
the Giants. So they get to 6-2. Amazing to think the Steelers are 6-2, and some great matchups coming up. Remember, they're doing that Hard Knocks in season, focusing on the AFC North, and the Steelers haven't played an AFC North opponent yet, and they still don't for 3 more weeks. All right, best bets and Folsom Prison Blues for Week 8 when PFT Live continues right after this. Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM, joint Mega Picks podcast delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
And it got spicy earlier. You know, we were talking during the break. Do we trim some of it out? No, we don't trim it out.
That's right.
We don't contrive debates. We don't manufacture dissent. Every once in a while, we argue a little bit.
Exactly right.
We move on.
Exactly
we
right.
move on or move out.
It wasn't personal. It was me just telling you you're a jerk and you're mean and you should want to do the podcast more. That's all it was. That sounds kind of personal, huh?
All right. Best bets time. Who do you got, asshole? Who do you got?
No problem. All right, here we go. All right, so I just want to give you some background. I did think about taking the Broncos as a best bet. I'm not going to do that. I did think about the Packers as well. But first one is I'm going to go Lions. DeAndre Hopkins got traded. Mason Rudolph's playing. That Lions team's hot. I'm taking the Lions to cover the 11-point spread.
Man, that's gutsy. So you said you're not taking the Broncos and you're not taking the Packers. You were going to, but you're not. Is that what you're saying?
They were on my short list of teams that I looked at for best bets, yes.
Give me both of them.
Okay.
Give me both of them. Give me the Broncos and the Packers, baby. Let's go. Let's do this. Go ahead. You're up next.
Okay, I like it. Now you're going to make me think twice about everything I did. I'm going to take the Texans as my second best bet. I don't think this Colts defense is worth a damn. They haven't played a good offense the last few weeks. I think the Texans defense will make life hard on Anthony Richardson and that offense. I think the Texans cover that 5-point spread.
Last one for me, the Miami Dolphins giving 3.5 to the Cardinals. They're traveling across the country. They kind of pulled one out of their bungholes last week. Tua is back. I think that's going to give the Dolphins a much-needed lift. It's not going to quite be 70-20, but I have a feeling this one could get out of control, where the Dolphins get to clicking and the Cardinals can't match them. We got a lot of time.
I got one more.
Oh, Chris has one. No, you have one more. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, you picked two off the bat. I'm going to take the Chargers, though. I will take the Chargers to cover their spread. What was that? It was a 7-point spread.
7. Yeah,
I think they slowly beat down the Saints. I'm going with them.
Okay, now I can say we have plenty of time left, even though we don't. But more than usual for the get out the door Folsom Prison Blues, if you're dying in a gutter and you have one game you can pick straight up this week, which one is it? So far this year, are we both 4-3? That's not very good. Oh, that's even worse. Chris,
3 weeks in a
you're
row.
Underwater. You're underwater.
I'm dead.
You're drowning in the gutter. Who do you got this week?
I'm going to go with the Lions over the Titans. That's the one I feel best about.
Yeah. The Lions blow this one. They really have some soul searching to do because the Titans right now are among that cluster of teams that if there was relegation, they'd really have to be concerned. All right.
Exactly right.
Thanks for joining us. We're not mad at each other. We love each other.
No. I hope you're back next week. We'll try not to replace you with Matthew Berry.
Bye.
See ya.
I won't be.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.